Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarana. Srila Prabhupada Ki. This evening we will continue to discuss Nectar of Instruction, Upadesamrita, text 3. Read the verse again. Utsa nisyada yat karma pavartanat, sangatyagat sato vriti, satbir bhakti prashidati. So these are 6 activities to be performed, to be successful in the practice of devotional service. So we discussed for the last many months that these 6 principles we discussed the first 4, being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, and acting according to the regulative principles. So we were discussing for many weeks now this verse of Prahlad Maharaj about the 9 processes of devotional service, starting with Shravana, Kirtana, Vishnu, Smaranam. And last session we discussed Sakyam, and today, this evening, we will discuss the last of the 9 practices of devotional service, which is Atmā-nivedana. So we are going to the Bhagavatam now, to verse 7.5.23. That this link doesn't work, so we have to go to the Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5. Then I go to 25 and then back. Here, Atmā-nivedana. And that, so Atmā-nivedana, the word Atmā-nivedana refers to the stage at which one who has no other motive other than to serve the Lord surrenders everything to the Lord and performs his activities only to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee is like a cow that is cared for by its master. When cared for by its master, a cow is not in anxiety over its maintenance. Such a cow is always devoted to its master, and it never acts independently, but only for the master's benefit. Some devotees therefore consider dedication of the body to the Lord to be Atmā-nivedana, and as stated in the book known as Bhakti Viveka, sometimes dedication of the soul to the Lord is called Atmā-nivedana. The best examples are found in Bali Maharaj and Ambarish Maharaj. Atmā-nivedana is also sometimes found in the behavior of Rukmini Devi at Dwarka. So we have this Atmā-nivedana that so Srila Prabhupada in a purport of Bhagavatam 4:28-30 says, generally the great acharyas who preach devotional service all over the world belong to the category of Sakyam Atmā-nivedana. A neophyte devotee cannot actually become a preacher. The neophyte is advised to execute devotional service in 7 other fields, Shravan, Kirtan, etc. So if one can successfully execute the preliminary 7 items, he can in the future be situated on the platform of Sakyam Atmā-nivedana. So Srila Prabhupada says this Sakyam and Atmā-nivedana, for us who are practicing sadhana bhakti, we cannot practice them. We must practice the 7 before. That means Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam. That's what we can do. Hearing about Krishna, remembering Krishna, speaking about Krishna, worship the lotus feet of the deity. We worship the deity, the lotus feet. Archanam, worship the deity. Vandanam, offer prayers to the deity. So these practices we can do. But Sakyam Atmā-nivedanam is advanced. That is far beyond liberation. That to see Krishna as your personal friend, that and serve him in that capacity, one must be on the spiritual platform. That an Atmā-nivedanam is the highest platform. That because Srila Prabhupada said in a lecture on Nrsimha Chaturdasi, he speaks about the Sakyam Atmā-nivedanam. Said Atmā-nivedanam means fully surrendered. So there are examples of devotees who are Sarvatmā-nivedanam. Just like Bali Maharaj, he gave everything to Krishna. Everything, whatever is kingdom, money, everything. Even his so-called spiritual master, Sukacharya, told him, don't give everything to Vishnu, because he will take all your wealth away, that you will become pure, that you will become very poor. But Bali Maharaj was thinking that a bona fide spiritual master knows that the purpose of sacrifice is Vishnu. That's the purpose of the entire sacrifice. And now Sukacharya is advising me not to give anything to Vishnu. So how can I follow his instruction? No, I must give everything to Krishna, because he is ultimate enjoyer and the proprietor of everything. And so in that way, that he gave everything, his kingdom, his money, everything. So that is Atmā-nivedanam. That mood is also there, also explained in Nectar of Devotion. Iyayasya aredasya karmanamana sagari nikalash abhavastasu jiva muktam sauchate. So this verse says that one who offers one's mind, intelligence, one's convictions, everything to Krishna, one is on the liberated platform. So one is implicitly liberated. He's not liberated, but he will soon come to that platform. So if one performs in that mode the first 7 items of first 7 methods of devotional service, Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Padsevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, one will come to that platform of full surrender. So, but what are the characteristics of one who has surrendered completely in this Atmā-nivedanam? This is interesting. It's written in a book, Sri Hari Bhakti Kalpa Latika, chapter 12 describes the characteristics of Atmā-nivedana. But of that work, the author is unknown. Interesting. But it says, the attainment of the desired goal of the devotees is called Atmā-nivedana. So that's our goal, to completely surrender to Krishna. It is achieved when their bodies are fully surrendered to Krishna and they are totally devoid of the mentality of I and mine. So full surrender is known as supreme transcendental devotional service. And it is the state of liberation for those who are living in the material world. So a fully surrendered soul does not think about work for or search after its own personal benefit. No, he fully surrenders his mind to the supersoul, Sri Hari, and constantly enjoys in the ocean of his own spiritual happiness. So that's the attainment of spiritual happiness by surrendering everything. So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he wrote a few books, and one of the books is The Beggar. The Beggar died before dying. Very interesting title. But he speaks about Atmā-nivedana. He says, Atmā-nivedana means your anxiety should be how to please Guru and Krishna, and how to get free from your separation from Guru and Krishna. In some lectures, Prabhupada, in the purport of 42830, Prabhupada mentions Ramanuja Acharya and Madhvacharya were all situated on the platform of Sakyam Atmā-nivedana. So we can also read in Nectar of Devotion. We will go to Nectar of Devotion and read that the character of one, or the activities of one who is fully surrendered, who is on the platform of bhava. And that we find in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 19, I think. And chapter 18. Yeah. So Rupa Goswami next describes the characteristics of a person who have actually developed his ecstatic love for Krishna. The characteristics are as follows. Can someone read these characteristics? They are on the screen, starting with 1.
Yes.
Thank you, Charanach.
He is always one. He is always anxious to utilize his time in devotional service of the Lord. He does not like to be idle. He wants service always, 24 hours a day, without deviation. 2. He is always reserved and perseverant. 3. He is always detached from all material attraction. 4. He does not long for any material respect in return for his activities. 5. He is always certain that Krishna will bestow mercy upon him. 6. He is always very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. 7. He is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. 8. He is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. 9. He is very pleased to live in a place where the Lord's pastimes are performed, like Mathura, Vrindavan, or Dwarka.
Yes. So these are the symptoms of one in bhava, but so he's always anxious to utilize his time in devotional service. So the devotee also is devotee. When one becomes a devotee, one becomes always very busy. No time to lose. We have We have the morning program, we have to chant, we have to read, we have to cook for Krishna. Always busy. And a devotee wants always to be busy in devotional service. That he wants always to serve, that his life becomes a life of service dedicated to the spiritual master in Krishna. He's always reserved and perseverant, and that he always wants to do devotional service, and he's dedicated to that. He's always detached from all material attraction. So when one is engaged in devotional service, then one, this is in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 5th chapter of the Gita, that it is said when one becomes attached to Krishna, one becomes detached from this material world. So when one has seen the beautiful face of Krishna, one is not attracted to any beauty in this world anymore. That's just a side effect of his attachment to Krishna or attachment to his devotional service. He does not long for any material respect in return to his activities. Respect is for the body. That this is the honor and dishonor, the duality of this world. But the devotee is not interested in this duality. He does not want respect. He wants to serve Krishna. If that means to be dishonored, he will be pleased with it. So he's always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. So that means very deep faith. That faith is explained in the next verse. The faith that Krishna will give his mercy, and that like we can ask ourselves the questions: Are we convinced that we will go back to Godhead? That we should be really convinced, and Krishna will reciprocate with our conviction that we will go back together. But that faith in the Lord is a product of realized transcendental knowledge. That by that knowledge we understand that the Lord is all good. That and whatever happens to us, good or bad, is His mercy. That and Queen Kunti realized that to the extent that she says, when all calamities that I underwent is just your mercy, because then I can think of you. Then I surrender. So he's very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Yes, that is devotee. He wants to chant the holy name. So here, Bhava is beyond liberation. Is very much attached. Means he had taste in the chanting of the holy name, and he feels Krishna's presence immediately when he chants. That he's always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and that transcendental qualities of the Lord. So he's eager to preach and to speak about Krishna because he lives in a relationship of ecstatic love with Krishna. He's very pleased to live in a place where Lotus pastimes are performed, like Mathura, Vrindavan, Dvarka. Yes, Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. He came to the West, but he remained internally rooted in Vrindavan. Now, all these aspects are explained here, and we will read a few of them. Can someone read utilization of time, please?
Maharaj, I'm driving right read, and I apologize, but I am listening. Haribol.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh,
Hare Krishna, I can read them, Maharaj.
thank you.
Utilization of time. An unalloyed devotee who has developed ecstatic love for Krishna is always engaging his words in reciting prayers to the Lord. Within the mind, he is always thinking of Krishna, and with his body, he either offers obeisances by bowing down before the deity or engages in some other service. During these ecstatic activities, he sometimes sheds tears. In this way, his whole life is engaged in the service of the Lord, with not a moment wasted on any other engagement.
Yeah. So this is Manmana in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, always think of me. He's always thinking of Krishna, and he's using his body to offer obeisances. So another example of Atmā-nivedana is Ambarish Maharaj, and it is mentioned there, he used his mind always to think of Krishna. He used his hands to cleanse to cleanse the floor of the temple. That he used his legs to go to the temple. And that he used his smell to smell the flowers offered to the Lord. And that he used his ears to hear about Krishna and his pastimes. So always using all our senses and utilize them all the time in Krishna's service. Now, perseverance. Can someone read this perseverance?
Yes.
Thank you.
When a person is undisturbed, even in the presence of various causes of disturbance, he is called reserved and perseverant. An example of this perseverance and reservation is found in the behavior of King Parikshit, as described in the first canto, 19th chapter, verse 15 of Srimad Bhagavatam. The king says there to all the sages present before him at the time of his death, "My dear Brahmanas, you should always accept me as your surrendered servant. I have come to the bank of the Ganges just to devote my heart and soul unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So please bless me, that Mother Ganges may also be pleased with me. Let the curse of the Brahmana's son fall upon me. I do not mind. I only request that at the last moment of my life, all of you will kindly chant the holy name of Vishnu, so that I may realize his transcendental qualities."
So this is perseverance. King Maharaj Pariksit was cursed to die in 7 days, and he gave up his attachment to the to his queens, to his treasure, to his armaments, to his army, that he gave up all attachments, and he sat down at the bank of the Ganges just to sit down and chant the holy names of Krishna and think of the Supreme Lord. That so that was his, because he knew he was going to die in 7 days. When we chant in the morning, we should have at least try to have the same attitude. Give up our attachment, all our attachment, at least for 2 hours, and chant and be with Krishna. That and that perseverance will help us all some. That so yes, the attachment, the senses are always desiring sense enjoyment. But when a devotee develops transcendental love for Krishna, his senses are no longer attracted to material desires. So that's what I mentioned before. You become attracted to Krishna, then one is detached from this material world. That's a side effect. And that so it is an example here from the Bhagavatam. Emperor Bharat was so attracted by the beauty of the lotus feet of Krishna that even in his youthful life he gave up all kinds of attachment to family, children, friends, kingdom, as though they were untouchables too, not to be imitated. That pridelessness, that when a devotee, in spite of possessing all the qualities of pure realization, is not proud of his position, is called prideless. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that King Bhagirath was the emperor above all other kings. Yet, he developed such ecstatic love for Krishna that he became a mendicant and went out begging even to the homes of his political enemies and untouchable. He was so humble that he respectfully bowed down before him. When Giriraj Maharaj was in Mumbai, he was temple president there, the first temple president. A very difficult situation with the temple. But Prabhupada was there, and his father came to India, and he offered his son at that time $1 million to come back home. But yeah, he said to Prabhupada, I want my son back. I'm sure Prabhupada said, oh, no problem, you ask him. But Giriraj Maharaj said no, that he was not interested in the money. So that's detachment, that great hope. Yeah. The strong conviction that one will certainly receive the favor of the Lord, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called in Sanskrit asabandha. Asabandha means to continue to think, because I'm trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service. I'm sure I will go back to Godhead, back to home. So we should be convinced. How can we get convinced? By association with sadhus who are advanced, that you can see from their symptoms how they are detached from this world, how they are attached to Krishna. So we can see out these examples that is possible. Then by that we have faith. We follow the same path, and we know we will also come to that point if we just remain alive in Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada said, like a rich man, what must he do? A rich son, what must he do to get it? What must he do to get the inheritance of his father? He must just stay alive. And so the same for us. We just have to stay alive in Krishna consciousness and perform our sadhana with great faith. So yes, in this connection, one prayer by Rupa Goswami is sufficient to exemplify this hopefulness. He says, I have no love for Krishna, nor for the causes of developing love of Krishna, namely hearing and chanting, and the pose of Bhakti Yoga, by which one is always thinking of Krishna and fixing his lotus feet in the heart, is also lacking in me. As far as philosophical knowledge or pious works are concerned, I don't see any opportunity for me to execute such activities. But above all, I'm not even born in a nice family. Therefore, I must simply pray to you Gopi Jana Vallabha, Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. I simply wish and hope that somewhere or another I may be able to approach your lotus feet, and this hope is giving me pain because I think myself quite incompetent to approach the transcendental goal of life. The purport is that under this heading of Asa Bandha, one should continue to hope against hope that some way or other he will be able to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Hope against hope. Prabhupada says. Of course, then the eagerness for the desired success that so in the middle you have this intense eagerness is very nicely expressed by Bilva Mangal Thakur in his book Krishna Karnamrita. He says, I'm eagerly waiting to see that boy of Vrindavan whose bodily beauty is captivating the whole universe, whose eyes are always bounded by black eyebrows and expanded like lotus petals, and who is always eagerly glancing over his devotees and therefore moving slightly here and there. His eyes are always moist, his lips are colored like copper, and through those lips there comes a sound vibration which drives one madder than a mad elephant. I want so much to see him at Vrindavan, that so the desire to see Krishna. When we surrender, there's this desire to see Krishna. Attachment to the chanting of the holy name. That is also from Krishna Karnamrita. Krishna Karnamrita is one of the two books that Lord Chaitanya found in South India. One book is Krishna Karnamrita, and the other book is Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita we chant every morning. Venam Kavantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksam. We sing it every morning, these verses of Brahma Samhita. But Krishna Karnamrita is the story of Bilva Mangal Thakur. Bilva Mangal Thakur is spiritual position in his position in the spiritual world is one of the gopis, one of the associates of Radharani. And in Krishna Karnamrita, because he self-realized that is above Asakti, he sees the spiritual world in his heart, that he describes the all the experience he has as a gopi as an associate with Srimati Radharani, and all these experiences are described in Krishna Karnamrita. So that is written by Bilva Mangal Thakur. That so it is said here from Krishna Karnamrita. It is said by one of the associates of Radharani, O Govinda, the girl who is the daughter of Vrishabhanu is now shedding tears, and she is anxiously chanting your holy name, Krishna, Krishna. So Srimati Radharani is attached to chanting the names of Krishna. So eagerly to describe the Lord's transcendental qualities, that's also from Krishna Karnamrita. What shall I do for Krishna, who is pleasing beyond all pleasurable conceptions, and who is naughtier than all restless boys? The idea of Krishna's beautiful activities is attracting my heart, and I do not know what I can do. What shall I do for Krishna? He's naughtier than all restless boys. This is very high realizations, which difficult to understand for us in the conditioned state. These feelings, transcendental feelings. Attraction for living in a place where Krishna is his pastime. So in the book Patyavali by Rupa Goswami, there is the following statements about Vrindavan. In this place, the son of Maharaj Nanda used to live with his father, who was the king of all coward men. In this place, Lord Krishna broke the cart in which the Sakatasura demon was concealed. At this place, Damodar, who can cut the knot of our material existence, was tied up by his mother Yasoda. So a pure devotee of the Lord resides in the districts of Mathura of Vrindavan and visits all the places where Krishna's pastimes were performed. At these sacred places, Krishna displayed his childhood activities with the coward boys and Mother Yasoda. The system of circumambulating all these places is still current among devotees of Lord Krishna, and those coming to Mathura and Vrindavan always feel transcendental pleasure. Actually, if someone goes to Vrindavan, he will immediately feel a separation from Krishna, who performed such nice activities when he was present there. Such attraction for remembering Krishna's activities is known as attachment for Krishna. There are impersonalist philosophers and mystics, however, who by a show of devotional service want ultimately to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord. They sometimes try to imitate the pure devotee sentiments for visiting the holy places where Krishna had his pastimes, but they simply have a view for salvation, and so their activities cannot be considered attachment. So these are these nice 9 qualities of one who is surrendered to Krishna. And of course, we can also see these 9 qualities in Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada never wasted time. He was always engaged in devotional service. And also our Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charamaj, was always so busy no time for anything else that outside the scope of devotional service. He was always reserved and perseverant. We see Prabhupada, he wanted to come to the West, and he was always, that was always on his mind. I have to execute the order of my spiritual master. And he was preparing for that in Vrindavan, translating the first canto in English in 3 books. And when he had finished translating them, he got a dream. In his dream, his spiritual master appeared and said, "Now it's time to go to the West." But it was years of preparation, and he never stopped preparing for it. That is always detached from all material attraction. Yeah. Yes, sure. We see also this always reserved and perseverant. Srila Prabhupada, he started with translating the Bhagavatam, but he never gave up. He was always constantly continuing. And also Bhakti Charamaj, who translated in Bengali back that, yes. He does not long for any material respect in return for his activities. Prabhupada was most humble always. In the beginning, he did everything himself. And he did everything for the pleasure of his Guru Maharaj. He's always certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him. So that is unflinching faith in Krishna. Unflinching faith in Krishna, there is this verse of one of the Upanishads that said, one who has implicit faith in the spiritual master and his instructions, that all the imports, all the meanings of the Vedas are revealed to such a person. And that yes, that's the faith is very important in devotional service. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about that. It says, for the faithless, there is no happiness in this life, not in the not in the next. That this is mentioned in I think at the end of the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. But for the ignorant and faithless who doubt the revealed scriptures, do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is no happiness neither in this world or in the next. So that's the importance of faith. That is very much attached to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Prabhupada started the movement with the chanting of the holy name. In New York, and from there everything began. That is eagerly to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. That means he's eager to preach. That eager to preach to so many people. That that's a surrendered soul. That is an instrument in the hands of his spiritual master. And that was Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, the only credit that I have is that I'm trying to execute the order of my spiritual master. And that's really the only only quality that we can have in the beginning. And from that quality, all the other qualities come. That just trying to execute the order of the spiritual master. He's very pleased to live in a place where the Lord's pastimes are performed. That means, yes, of course, it means the Mathura, Vrindavan, Dwarka. But we may not forget that the temple is also considered a holy place. So if we remain in the temple, we are also in a holy place. That, of course, visiting Mathura, Vrindavan, I did 3 times the complete Vrajamandal Parikram, and it helps you to become to remember this later, all these places where these pastimes taken place. You read Krishna book and you remember the place where the pastime took place, and that is very special. So these 9 qualities are important. Then the question is, to what point did we develop them? By that we can understand to which level we are surrendered. Are we always anxious to utilize our time in devotional service, or do we want to do other things outside of the scope of devotional service? That are we perseverant to follow? To follow all the instructions of the spiritual master. That to what degree am I detached from material attraction? To that degree, you are still bound to this world. So that's but better to see the positive one. That to what degree am I attached to Krishna? So we have to increase that attachment. by hearing, chanting, by performing these 7 activities mentioned. That Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pad Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. These are the 7 that we need to perform in our sadhana. The 8th and the 9th, Sakyam, Atmā-nivedana, we cannot perform in sadhana because it's on the liberated platform. It's beyond sadhana. Then we have got the mercy of the Lord already, the full mercy, I mean. When one performs sadhana, one is also the mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, we cannot do it. That always eager to serve the Lord faithfully. Faithfully, this word is important. We faith in Krishna's words. We serve Krishna, we serve also his instructions, which are the instructions of the spiritual master, faith in it. That very much attached chanting the holy name. Yeah, we should chant our own rounds, but when we become purified, it becomes ecstatic. We develop love for Krishna. And then we become attached. We become very attached to the chanting because it's a source of ecstatic pleasure, feeling our relationship with Krishna. Always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord means eagerness to preach Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That's where the transcendental qualities are described. And then eager to live in the temple. So we can practice all of them, but we are in the beginning stage. When one has developed all these qualities fully, one does a symptom, then we know this person is very advanced. Bhava Prema. By that we can understand that Srila Prabhupada was advanced. We can understand how Bhakti Charumaharaj was advanced. And many others in our movement. By seeing these qualities in them. It's like how we can measure their level of being a surrendered soul. So this is about Atmā-nivedana. Are there any questions, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for this class.
Hare Krishna.
The reading and looking into these 9 different attributes is very edifying. It's very helpful. I noticed in the last few weeks, we were so busy in the preparations for this event that many of us found ourselves with too much service and not enough time. And we were, doing so much. And the mind rebels against it a little. But in retrospect, it's actually very ecstatic. And so it was nice. It was nice to see that as number 1 in the list. For those of us that are not there in Bhava, which one of those do you think we should think about most or focus on?
Yeah, which of these 9? I would say that if we look at them, they are more or less it's in a certain sequence. But I think utilizing our time in devotional service for us is very important. To become very anxious that, but of course, all these qualities are related. Because if we utilize our time completely in devotional service, then the other qualities will develop, and that you will, because, yeah, of course, there's also, it's interdependence that you must be perseverant to do it. But if you do it, utilize all your time in Krishna's service, you will become detached of material attachment, material attraction. And that, of course, the fourth point, not wanting to, not longing for any material respect in return for activities. And that is also to do with the right motive. We utilize our time in devotional service, but we want to purify our motive, only act out of pure devotional service, not to ask something in return. So, if our heart is not completely pure, we want something in return. That's the problem. Because we have material desires. Material desires means you want something in return. So that develops fully when we are free from anarthas. This fourth point will be a result of. It is also a measurement. Are we free from attachment? That material attachment. Is always certain that Krishna will bestow his fate upon me. How does fate develop? Shraddha develops by sadhu sangha. They develop by associating with the devotees who are advanced. Sadhu sangha. And then, of course, we hear from the devotees. And we hear from Prabhupada, even if we read, we hear from Prabhupada. That way. And we practice what we read, and we get a result, and we see that we are becoming more happy and more detached from this world. Then we know it works. And that gives faith. That's a practical experience. And we see advanced devotees who have all these qualities, who are surrendered. And by that we can understand, if we continue, we will also come to that point. And that gives faith. So faith is developing, but the faith in Bhava of Prema is really practically at its summit. But Krishna consciousness is the development of faith. And very much attached to the chanting of the holy name, it's also a result from utilizing our time constantly in devotional service. One becomes attached to the chanting when one feels transcendental pleasure. That's natural. And that comes by utilizing our time in devotional service. And when we hear sufficiently from the Lord, then you are eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord or the pastimes of the Lord. And of course, we become attracted to the places where Krishna had his pastimes. That's natural. But I think utilizing our time in devotional service is most important. It does not like to be idle, because idle means Maya. If we are not engaging in devotional service, we are engaging ourselves in the service of Maya. And the devotee does not want that. Wants always to engage his mind, his activities in Krishna's service. So they are interdependent all, but utilizing his time in devotional service is most important. That even in the stage of sadhana, because it will purify us, and yes, the other will develop if we develop faith by Shravanam, by performing these first 7 activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, especially these 3 first, the 3 first. If we hear about Krishna and we chant about Krishna, we speak about Krishna, then this attachment will grow. That because also Prabhupada always said, I can now speak nicely because I heard nicely. So that's going together. And because I think utilizing our time in devotional service on a platform of sadhana, Shravana, Kirtan, Vishnu Smarana, the first 3, which is chanting the holy name, hearing the holy name, remembering Krishna, and chanting the verse of the Bhagavatam, hearing them, and the purpose also, and then one wants to, and one will remember Krishna. So that's the best utilization of our time in the stage of sadhana. But of course, here it's bhava. Here it's spontaneous attraction for whatever service. Sadhana means the first stages. There's not yet attraction. But the same principle of utilizing time is there. So I think this is a most important item also for us in the platform of sadhana. Also being perseverant. You must follow the regulative principles. You must chant. You must follow the instructions of the spiritual master. And then detachment will come. Not longing any material respect. That will all come from that. And faith will develop. The other items will develop. But the 2 first items are also important for us, especially. Does that help, Srinath Sharampu?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to kind of comment and just get clarification to see if I'm on the right track. But I really appreciated the I don't know who wrote that. It must have been Srila Prabhupada, the purport about the utilizing one's time in Krishna consciousness, because it doesn't just talk about physical active service. Like actually, I think the first one was the utilizing. He's always praying, so it sounds like I thought that was really nice because there might not always be physical active service, and just because someone is doing, like we might be doing a lot of physical service doesn't mean like we should also look at like just praying, chanting. These are also, and reading. We can do really nice balance of reading when we are not so physical or doing, but we have to have the balance of all of them. And especially a place like this, there's a lot of physical service too. Is that right also? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, especially in the platform of sadhana, of course, we must chant our rounds every day, then follow the principles, but we should also do, especially in the platform of sadhana, service that we like to do, that we feel attracted to. Because that's a principle in devotional service, that we do what's according to our nature, material nature, and use it in Krishna's service. And that will satisfy us materially and spiritually. And that, so it's not that everyone will utilize his time in devotional service in the same way. No, that it's according to one's attraction, taste, and that and some are more intellectually inclined, philosophically, other are more practically inclined, and that's fine. But of course, it's devotional service. But in the platform of sadhana, we perform devotional service with our senses, but we must always be aware the internal must follow. We must think of Krishna, or start to think of Krishna while we do our service. But that will follow surely if we are perseverant in following the sadhana. That of course these qualities that we see here are very elevated. It's our by that we can measure who is really advanced by looking at this. That so that's an important point. We want to know are we advanced or not. You have a measure stick here. That I hope that this helps. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you so much, Maharaj. Really appreciate your class.
Good. So next week we will continue with the purport of text 3. We have done this, the 9. We went to the 9 methods of devotional service, and we covered a big part of nectar of devotion also. And that hopefully that helps us to understand the process of devotional service a little more deeper, what we should do. That and I look forward to go further into nectar of instruction next week. Next week I will be back in Europe, but normally I should make it for next week. Thank you very much. Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada.